group quota, as minority, it's hard to sell a flat. Why so strict? And I thought that perhaps this was a useful question to have a discussion on. Maybe by a show of hands, just to get a sense from this group, are you aware that there is something called an ethnic integration policy for our flats, our HDB flats? Everybody who knows can do us a favor of raising our hands? Because if you don't raise your hands means you don't know lah. Okay, so about half of us know that there's an ethnic integration policy in our HDB flats. I assume the rest not so familiar. I think the question is related to the fact that the ethnic integration policy means that there's an ethnic quota for each block of flats. So why do we have to be so strict? Is it not something that we can be more relaxed about? Thought this is quite related to also the earlier discussion during the National Day rally on racial and religious harmony. How does that play a part? Perhaps Grace could share with us.
Actually, if you look at our present situation, when you go to any HDB estates, actually you can proudly say that we do not have an Indian estates or a Chinese estates or the Malay estates, right? Because in any block that you go, you're bound to see a multiracial composition in terms of residence mix. It's not by chance, Actually, by nature, you would tend to want to live with people of your type, right? If your mother is staying here, my auntie is staying here, my uncle is staying here, I so want to stay here, So that's a natural tendency. The fact is that we have different races is actually unnatural. And the fact that it's unnatural is because there's a policy called EIP. That's because we have restrictions. We make sure that there's distribution so that we do not have enclaves. And it also means, if you go a bit deeper into politics, it means that any of us MP, we have to represent multiracial because all our estates are subjected to EIP. We do not have a solely Chinese constituency or Malay constituency or Indian constituency. Right? So that's on the racial management side. Specifically on why so strict, my response with this usually if I'm Chinese and this block is overrepresented in Chinese, I can only sell to other races, right? There will be a little bit more troublesome, but there are buyers, except that it may not be the one that you want to sell to. So my suggestion is sell it to the right prospective sellers, and that it's part of the policy to ensure that there's good distribution. Very often, I think when we have looked at the cases, it's not that they can't find buyer. It's just that they felt that the buyer may not be giving them as high as a price that they like. All right? But that's part of the policy, and everyone is subjected to that. So if you are the one that's subjected to that limitation, the next one also will be similarly subjected to that limitation.